Hey everybody, welcome to Movie Time. I'm Sean. Alright guys, let's get the show on the road. First off, it was announced a few weeks back about The Rock starring in a Baywatch movie, and this one is not expected to take the sometimes serious type of tone that Baywatch had, but it's going to take more of a type of 21 Jump Street type of vibe, which is great. I really think that would be good for this one. It would be good to not try to take itself so seriously. Baywatch tried to do that, and people really didn't watch it for that. People watched it for the girls, the babes, and they sometimes went too serious and it wasn't a good show, but you had the babes. So you have The Rock being cast. They finally announced another big casting for this film, and I'm really happy about this one because not only does he have the best abs in the biz right now, I think he is a very talented actor. Zac Efron is going to be starring opposite The Rock. I think this can be really good. I think that fact that they're both funny and charming, but they are not strictly comedic actors, I think that they can put a nice feeling, a nice little twist on the whole movie. I think that they could have some nice competition there. I can just imagine them both, bum rushing the tide to save somebody, pushing each other, trying to hit on chicks. I read one report about this saying that The Rock is going to play the more straight-laced guy and Zac Efron's going to play the more silly playboy type of guy. So we'll see. Other than that, that was just one report, and that's not a confirmed statement from anybody that has to do with the movie. But yeah, this news does catch my attention. I'm really happy about this. I would actually really like to see this movie. I just want to see who the babes are going to be, who the chicks, the ladies, the lovely ladies of Baywatch are going to be. That would be pretty interesting if they have like a Pamela Anderson cameo or something along the way. That'd be really cool. Now this second bit of news might not be big news to a lot of people, but one of my favorite films when I was a kid was Kindergarten Cop. One of my favorite lines from the film is that little boy that was on, I think he was on Full House. He was in the movie. He says, "Boys have penises, girls have vaginas," and it's one of my favorite. I just loved that movie when I was young. I never really understood some parts of the movie because even though it was a kid movie, I didn't understand why the woman got sick. But I mean, I didn't understand that when I was a kid. Just things like that. It was really, for me, it was really a good film. I loved it a lot. And it has been announced that Dolph Lundgren is going to be starring in the Kindergarten Cop 2. I think this is awesome. I don't know if Dolph Lundgren is going to be able to pull off some of the type of comedy that Arnold does, because I honestly think sometimes Arnold, he has a good sense of comedy to him. He knows when to be funny, but at the same time, I think Arnold does things that are funny without him trying to be funny. I don't know if Dolph Lundgren is going to be able to do that, but I'm excited for this film. As long as it kind of sticks to this type of the first one with the kids and a teacher and stuff like that. I really am looking forward to this one. This one is going to be straight to video on demand type of film, so it's going to be hitting your TVs, your pay-per-view channels, and probably your red boxes. You won't hear about it in theaters, but I am looking forward to this film. And the last bit of news this week is that Jack Reacher 2 has been confirmed. This is great news. Right now, Tom Cruise is on a roller coaster high with his action movies. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation is doing great. I saw it this past week. It was a really good film. I really enjoyed it. And that's not how I truly entirely feel about the film. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation is directed by Christopher McQuarrie, and Jack Reacher was also directed by Christopher McQuarrie. But with Jack Reacher 2, it's going to be directed by The Last Samurai director, Ed Zwick. So this is really good. Tom Cruise, when he works with a director and you see something good come from it, he usually works with them on multiple other occasions as well. So it's really good news. I particularly like Jack Reacher. There's certain things about it I think that if they really work more on, I think the movie can be even better. I really like the detective type of stuff that happened in the first Jack Reacher. It's a different type of movie from what he's normally doing. But you add a little action in there as well. But I do like the film. I hear nothing but good things about the book series. It was stated that this film will start shooting this year and will release late 2016. So wow, that is a fast turnaround. Tom Cruise needs to get in as many of these types of movies while he can, while he's still young. He does so many of his own stunts, and I love that about him. He always gives it 100%. He's one of my favorite actors because of the performances. He always gives a good one. So I really hope that he gets as many of these films in as he can while he can. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Jack Reacher 2. Alright guys, so let's move on to the trailer segment of this week's show. There were two trailers that caught my attention this week. The first trailer that caught my attention this week is the Hateful Eight. It wasn't expected to be released, but with the release of the poster, the next day followed the trailer. I gotta say the trailer is interesting. It's not action-packed, but it does have a lot of tension in it, and it has a lot of nice little Quentin Tarantino dialogue. So that's what you go to Quentin Tarantino movies for. You go for that dialogue, you go for that witty banter. You also go for the action in some of his movies as well. But it looks interesting. It looks really good from what I've heard of what the movie's gonna be. This one looks like it's gonna be tension filled, and I'm sure there's gonna be some action in there as well. It does a good job of setting the table before we eat our dinner with the film. The second trailer really surprised me. Ride Along 2. I had heard that they were filming this a long time ago, but I didn't remember, like it didn't stay in my mind. So the fact that this trailer came out this week and I saw it, I was like, holy cow, a Ride Along 2 trailer. I'm gonna watch that real quick because I actually kind of liked the first one. This trailer had me rolling, I swear. The character that Kevin Hart plays in this film is unlike a lot of the characters he plays in other films, and I really like that about this one. It's kind of endearing to see him, actually show something else about who he is, and I don't know. I really like the kind of what's going on in this film. You got Olivia Munn in there looking smoking hot. Oh my gosh, Aaron Rodgers, dude, bro, pound it. Like, oh my gosh, she looks amazing. You have this trailer looks really funny. Ice Cube in there doing his Ice Cube thing. It looks really funny. It had me rolling. I definitely recommend watching this trailer. That doesn't mean the movie's gonna be that great or anything. It's gonna be awesome or good or bad. But the trailer's really good. I really like the trailer. Alright guys, now let's talk about what's in theaters. In theaters this week is Man from U.N.C.L.E. as well as Straight Outta Compton. Straight Outta Compton, I'm hearing some good things about this film. I'm hearing that it was well made, but I'm also hearing some definite complaints about the third act, how the third act kind of seems different from the first two acts. So I definitely am interested in seeing this. The trailer, the first trailer that ever came out, the Red Band, that thing was amazing. It really got me hooked. Now I really want to see what this film's about. I want to see into this world of NWA. I do hear some other things about it though, that they gloss over some points in their lives that make it, the movie, that it might seem a little kind of made in a certain way to make people look a little not as bad as what they probably could look. It has, because of what happened in real life. They wash over a few things. So I am interested in this one. I look forward to seeing this film. Hopefully I have some time later this week. The second film, again, Man from U.N.C.L.E. This film, the funniest thing I think about this film, I mean, from seeing the previews, the trailers and stuff like that, the chemistry looks good between Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer. The funny thing is, you got Armie Hammer, who's an American. He plays a Russian, and you have Henry Cavill, who's an Englishman playing an American. Either way, it looks interesting. Their chemistry looks good, and this film looks like, what I like the best about it, I guess you could say, is the clothing, the atmosphere. Total 60s spy thriller type thing, but with a little bit of comedy in there based on just natural things happening in the film. It looks interesting. I really want to see this one. I actually would think I will see Man from U.N.C.L.E. before I see Straight Outta Compton. These are the two movies that are coming out this week, the biggest ones. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Which out of the two, if in either of those two, are you going to see this weekend? Alright guys, now on to movie of the week. This week's movie of the week was Seventh Son. Last week I watched Jupiter Ascending because I had heard very, very bad things about it, and I wanted to see if I could find something. Seventh Son is no different than that. I've heard very, very bad things about this film, and I wanted to see if there was anything good that I could pull from this film. And I gotta say, there actually was. Now, while this movie is not Lord of the Rings or anything along those lines, like that type of quality, this movie has its pros, its positives, and its negatives. First off, I really like the atmosphere, the lore. Again, I'm talking about the lore. I talked about the lore with Jupiter Ascending. This one has a really great fantasy lore. I'm playing Witcher 3 right now on Xbox One, and this movie had so many things that reminded me of Witcher 3, or it reminded me of the Elder Scrolls. This pure fantasy feeling that. So it has these things in it that are really awesome like that. I really like that setting, that background, that history, that lore of this film. There are some things I don't like about this film. First off, they keep changing throughout the movie. It seems they change the lens or the type of camera they're using multiple times. There are times where everything is glossy and kind of shot with a filter from Instagram of some sort, and then there's times where it's nice and clear and crisp, and then there's other times where it looks like it's done with like a cheaper type of camera. I don't know what they were doing throughout this movie that made it look like that. I don't know if that's what they were going for. I don't know. All I know is that it was very noticeable for me, and it was so noticeable that I was like, whoa, what's going on with the camera? So yeah, that's one of the negatives. Another one of the negatives is, like I said, this movie is not up to the quality or product of Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. So the sets, some of the sets are clearly outdoors, but there are some sets that they try to make look like they're outdoors, and they just look terrible. I thought they looked terrible. Some of the props, terrible. The staff that they use in the film, that Jeff Bridges uses in the film, that thing looks horrible. There's a part at the beginning where he uses it with fire. There's a part at the end where he uses the fire. And this fire, it's coming out like a freaking flamethrower, like a blowtorch. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You couldn't just do that CGI to make it look better, or actually light the damn thing on fire at the end somehow and do quick shots of it somehow, and I don't know, with movie magic make it work, because this looks terrible. You're giving me your secret away of how you're having your prop light things up. I didn't like that one bit. And the thing that makes me so upset about this is that in between those two points, there's a point where something magical happens with this staff, this Falcon staff, I think they called it, this staff, where they use CGI, and it looks great. And then they do this practical effect with it, and it looks terrible. So the props, the settings, sometimes they looked terrible. When they kept it natural, it looked good, and sometimes when they used CGI, it looked pretty good as well. The monsters in here, the CGI monsters, they looked pretty good as well. But these physical props just didn't, they didn't cut it, Another thing, I guess, is a positive from it is they got two really good actors to really hold down. Three really good actors to really hold down this movie. You had Julianne Moore, you had Jeff Bridges, and you have newcomer, at least newcomer to me, Alicia Vikander. She was in, I didn't realize it till halfway through the movie, I just noticed, I was like, I recognize this girl from somewhere, and I checked it out. She was in Ex Machina, I didn't even know that. And she's also in some upcoming movies. I think she's in Man from U.N.C.L.E. as well. She has a real beauty to her, and it's a natural beauty. It's natural, but she's a great actress. She's really coming with her A game every time I've seen her so far. Jeff Bridges, he did a really good job of portraying this character, and Julianne Moore did as best she can portraying this silly character that she is. But that's just it, though. The fact that you have these three really good actors portraying such silly characters or such a silly story, to me, it kind of took away from the movie as a whole. I almost wish that they would have got lesser actors, less known actors, and continue with the story and made it more out there. Or if you're gonna have these type of actors, these great actors in there, like these Academy Award winners, make the story a little bit more believable, a little better, I don't know, just do a better job with the story. The dialogue, some of the dialogue was okay when they were talking about the setting, the history, the lore, and stuff like that. I liked it, but overall it wasn't that great. It was kind of mediocre. Even with that being said, this movie did not I felt I enjoyed this film, and this is really surprising because I like sci-fi more than fantasy. This is really surprising. I actually like this movie more than I like Jupiter Ascending. I do think that probably has to do with the fact that Jupiter Ascending had way more things wrong with it than it had right with it, and this one had probably a mixture of both right and wrong that just kind of leveled out. This movie is a mediocre movie. It's nothing you're gonna write home about, but it is an interesting movie. It does have some really good use of imagination in there. Now, if you are that type of person that likes the fantasy, the dragons, the magic, the swords, this movie is for you. This movie's for you. Go out there, rent this movie on Redbox. If that isn't your cup of tea, then don't worry about it. Alright guys, so that's it for movie time. Remember to click the like, share, subscribe buttons down below. Leave your comments, questions, suggestions in the comment section. Let's have a great conversation this week. We'll see you next time. Peace.